Alright, welcome, my name is DeSolo, and here is my very scuffed TLDR guide on how to play one of the endgame builds for Spearmaster, which is the Bleed spec using Tassel. You want to play this spec if you do not have 17 to 20% haste, or also known as sprint here. Okay? So this is under the assumption that you already know how the class works. This is when you get to max level and you're looking for the end game build to play. This is, in quotations, the hardest spec of the three to play, but in reality, compared to the other classes out there, the spec is really not hard to play at all. Like, the class in general is very easy. I will link two things in the description. One is a visual guide of the build. It is in Chinese, you can translate it, but mainly you want to scroll down if you need to see exactly what buttons to push. It's this pure bleeding rotation, and it just follow it. Now the thing with North America client is that these two buttons do not work properly because we cannot get level 2 for some reason. Hopefully they fix that. So for now, you would not use these two buttons, okay? But I'll show you the rotation with and without. Okay, so I'll link that in the description, and I also wrote, for people that might not know how the class works so much, I wrote a little bit more details. So I'll link that. You can slow the video down when I do the rotations. Like I said, TLDR. So this is the spec. I'll give very brief descriptions of what everything does. Tassel gives you the silk combos, and it pretty much makes it so you attack with one-handed spears. It breaks your spear in two. You hit really fast. Eagle Hunt, this is the bread and butter of the build. It applies heavy bleeding whenever you use one of these three buttons on a target. Also hits multiple targets. So this is the bread and butter. Turning back at the summit makes it so that your mountain storm also applies a bleed. And it also makes it so your bleeds last 3 seconds longer. So normal is 9 seconds. With this, it's 12 seconds. It's pretty easy to keep it up all the time, and that's the point of the build. Okay. So next is break mountain range. This increases your damage, so physical damage by 15%. It's on a charge based system, and you can only use it when it's at 8 charges. So how that works is it takes like 45 seconds to give you one charge around that time frame. For me, it's 48.7. But if you use the proc that you get from your resource by consuming it with a rage dumper, like a spender, if you have this lit up and you use a spender, then you will get a charge from here. So to make it easier to understand, if you lit this up 8 times and spent it, then you would have this back. Okay. Last is extraordinary. What this does is it puts a tornado around your target when you use Tighten the Net. This is the thing that is not working correctly on NA client. I don't know if it's like just not in this build or something, but I have Chinese friends that say they played it at the start and it was there. There was a bug at the start, but it was fixed very early. Okay, so that's your blessings. Now your glyphs is double attack. What this does is it makes your big dick cooldown raid. Also summon heroes from the past that will attack the target when you attack, pretty much. Heart death, whenever you see something, so the bosses, if you knock it to the ground, float it, knock them in the air, you gain an additional 20% to crit the target. Dark Sand is it increases your mastery. Your mastery increases your damage of your generators and your spenders, and also your Tighten the Net. So it's just a flat DPS upgrade, so it just boosts your damage. Dragon Chant, it increases the upper limit of your rage consumed. So in order to dump your battle soul, like if you want it empowered, it's 60, but this puts it up to 80. So think of like an execute from a warrior in World of Warcraft. More rage, more damage. All right, so that is the spec. You can take another quick look. I'll show you what the rotation looks like without Tighten the Net, and then I'll show you the rotation with Tighten the Net. Okay, so this is without two very important things, like tips that you should probably learn. Mountain Storm and your interrupt cancel the animation of raid. So that's the first tip. And then the second tip is you cannot spam these buttons because your bleed will fall off. So every once in a while, you will have to just auto attack waiting for it. You mainly want to use these three, your silken buttons. And then if for some reason this is not coming off cooldown, these are not coming off CD, and your bleed's about to fall off, then you put an additional bleed with Mountain Storm. So the rotation is, we're going to start with using Raid and immediately Mountain Storm to cancel the animation. All right, so you can slow this down if you want, or you can read this because this is what you want to do. But NA client, you don't want to use these two buttons. All right. So here's the rotation. I'm gonna wait like 2 seconds just to make sure that my other shit will come off CD before my bleed falls off. See, I'm just auto attacking. We want to make sure that this bleed stays up. Now when you hit the boss for 3-4 minutes or however long it takes, right? Heavy bleeding will be your #1 damage. So you only want to fill with Mountain Storm when you can't use it with these, okay? So like I said, if you hit it for a long time, heavy bleeding, like it's already almost #1, it will be your top damage. So that's without Tighten the Net, and this is with Tighten the Net. The main focus is to keep the 3 stacks of bleeds up all the time. Now another thing is, with like a basic thing to know about Spearmaster, we'll go here because the cooldowns are probably back up. Whenever you use one of these buttons, it empowers your left click into Ward Breaker, right? Now it is very important, you can miss the first attacks, but it's very important that you hit the third attack of the 3 because it procs your Battle Soul. Okay, all right, and that's it, boys. Have fun.